So Dallas got the upper hand in that game. They won, but it wasn't the most impressive victory from an offensive standpoint for the Cowboys. And, you played against a rookie quarterback. So, there are some things you take away from it that you're happy about. Some things you take away from it where you're kind of like, we should kind of squeeze one out. But,
Mm-hmm.
that's the NFL. That's the nature of the beast. But Dallas has stopped being its own worst enemy if they want to make the playoffs this year.
Right.
Dallas should be much better than what they are right now. So I think Dallas has maybe 2 games that they shouldn't have won this year.
Mm-hmm.
The rest all should be good. And that all goes back to, discipline, better decision making from the coaches, less mistakes by Romo, just things of that nature. And, Dallas has potential. We've been saying this for like the last 6 years. Dallas has talent to make the playoffs. Dallas has the potential to make the playoffs. And, it has to happen this year. Or, it's like somebody has to be scapegoat.
And,
so we'll see.
Oh, yeah. And I really agree that it's pretty much going to have to be somebody that goes. I really think Jason Garrett is pretty much on the short leash. Like, if he doesn't make the playoffs, I could really see him being that weak link about leaving and about him getting out of there, because I don't think Jerry Jones is going to fire a coach mid-season like he did 2 years ago, because I've said this before to a lot of people. Jerry Jones's ego is just so huge. It's just so huge that he's not gonna admit that he's wrong, and he really wanted Garrett. And to fire him would be just like, well, dang, I'm not wrong. I'm not right. I'm wrong, pretty much. So, about that here, I would just think here that I really want to see like Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator, and the brother of Rex with the Jets. I would really love to see Rob Ryan as like our head coach. But looking at the game, I don't think it wasn't really anything to be dead impressed over about Philadelphia. I mean, of course we got the win, but we kind of also capitalized on the mistakes of whenever Michael Vick got out of the game. I mean, when they had what's his name, Nick Costa, I think. Am I right? Nick Foles, my bad. Nick Foles. When they got Nick Foles in the game, it just throwing him into that situation right there kind of, I saw Dallas. Dallas really did capitalize off of some of the mistakes, but it wasn't that impressive. But I guess you can see here, as I'm looking at the schedule, the Cowboys' schedule here on out, they have a favorable schedule from here on out. I mean, they got the Browns. I think they got the Browns next. Then they got the Redskins on Thanksgiving Day. Then they got the Eagles again. All 3 of those games are in Dallas before they have to travel to Cincinnati. And if they can build some steam going along there, I think they could possibly put themselves into the playoffs, but they have to play much better, though.
Right. And you look at some of those games that they lost earlier this season that they should have won.
Mm-hmm.
You think you said, well, wow, if Dallas would have won those games earlier, they could have had a chance to maybe rest some players or, maybe, not necessarily lose the game, but, if there was a close loss or upset, it would put them back to score. But now, Dallas is in almost a state of emergency to where they have to win nearly every game they have left in their schedule.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Let's also talk about another marquee game that we saw last night, actually. A very good one between the Texans and the Bears. Texans really played considering the conditions, a little bit of rain, a little bit cold. Are you surprised that they actually, grinded out that game against the Bears?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see the whole game, the actual game in its entirety, but from the highlights and score, I can't say that I was necessarily shocked most people out. So it was impressive to see them grind one out. You also look at the fact that Jay Cutler didn't play the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to look at the game. I mean, but at the same time, the Bears are still a pretty good team, and they're at 100%. And Houston, I mean, they're the best team in the AFC. They're the best team in the AFC, and probably the best team in the league, depending on who you ask. So you can't really hold your head down and lose to a team like the Pistons. So Houston still has a rather soft schedule. I mean, they have to play with the Colts. They have to play the Colts. They have to play the Jags again. Tennessee again. I mean, it's a very soft schedule. So right now, they're probably going to skate to a number one seed in the AFC come playoff time. So we know what we can expect from the Sixers right now. As long as they stay healthy, I expect them to do well. Probably be in the AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
I see no grand weaknesses from there. The only thing I'll say is that that shot can sometimes make that ball really throw. As long as they have Arian Foster and Ben Tate to get the ball to, they should take some pressure off of them.
Yes, most definitely, and I think a little bit of it. I said this to a friend. I think that this was probably going to be a Super Bowl preview because I would love to see these two teams go at it yet again. Because I mean, they both have the Texans pretty much they got the best team in the AFC, and like you had said, they got the better team in the AFC. I don't really and I don't see any kind of glaring weaknesses either, because their defense is good, their offense is good, even their special teams is pretty good. I think with the Bears, I think just by a little bit by default here that they were probably going to be the best team in the NFC, because I think it's just their defense. Sometimes you just can't trust Jay Cutler. It's just given with the NFC here that I really do not trust any of these teams that's kind of like in the playoff mode here. That's projected to be in the playoffs right now, because there's some of them that you kind of got to think about it, and you're like, well, they might have this, like such as Atlanta and all them, given their history and all that Atlanta has been known to underperform in the playoffs before too. My question I have for you today too is, what do you think about that tie in the Niners-Rams game?
It was something that was always unprecedented in the NFL. Like we mentioned earlier, we haven't seen the tie since McNabb was playing, and he didn't even know the rules for a time. So, it's kind of shocking. Both of the offenses, while they can score, score 24 to 24,
Mm-hmm.
so, they can score points, but they both have offenses that sometimes hit the pause button. It's like Russell Wilson, he can get it going, but there are times when the offense is a little stagnant. And the Niners didn't have Alex Smith. They had their rookie in, who still had a great game, but he couldn't get it done. So it's not too surprising when you sit back and look at both teams' offenses and the struggles they sometimes have. But it's shocking, nevertheless, to see a tie, because we haven't seen one for in a while, several years.
And it looked like at the end of that game, it looked like the Rams were just looking at their demeanor and looking at how I think it didn't seem like they had any hurry up. They didn't have any urgency with them. It just really seemed like, okay, well, we can't beat the Niners, of course. Well, maybe tying them was pretty good, huh? I mean, that's.
Sam Bradford is just, I don't know. Sometimes he looks really good, sometimes he looks really bad. I don't know. Jeff Fisher, he's running more sympathy. That's better than it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a lot of room to grow.
Yeah.
So, it helped the Rams out. At least, it's not a loss. So.
And I also get back to this too, that another interesting thing that happened this week in the NFL was that all of the teams, all of the division leaders in the AFC won. Texans, Ravens, Steelers. I mean, it's the Texans, Ravens, Patriots, Broncos. We'll talk a little bit about your Broncos a little bit after this. They all won. But the teams in the NFC, Falcons, the leaders in the NFC, the Falcons, the Bears, the Niners, and the Giants, did not win. And especially with the Niners getting that tie. I just also wanted to talk about one of those division leaders, the Broncos. I mean, how about them, man?
Yeah, I'm glad to see them stepping up and not only beating the teams that they're supposed to beat, but annihilating them. I'm glad to see this direction taken now, because last year was so many close games and so many Tebow miracles and mistakes by the other team giving them that. It's good to see the Broncos beating people consistently, with just offense and good defense all around. Special teams coming along, holidays, probably right now the highest return man in the league. So it's very good from a fan standpoint to see that the team beating teams, pretty bad. Beating them convincingly. A team comes to your house with a 1-5 record and you beat them. You beat them bad. Don't beat them the fourth quarter, last minute drive, none of that. They come, you win, who's next week? So, as a fan, I'm very confident. I'm very, happy with the progress. I'm happy with Peyton Manning, who's making a strong case for not only comeback player of the year, but also MVP. Right now, there's a good debate going on about who's this season's MVP so far. Who would you go with, Lamar? Would it be Adrian Peterson, Peyton Manning, or anyone else?
The comeback player, you mean? Or MVP? MVP? I think here, wow, it's actually pretty good because there's no real clear-cut MVP here this year. You could make a case for somebody on the defense. You can make a case for somebody on the offense. I'm going to go on and say that I think it probably can be Peyton Manning. I think it could be that, because with how he's doing with the Broncos right now, the Broncos look like a very improved team, and he's really put that team like on his back, and he's really got them improved. Like you said earlier, they're not winning the close games like they were with Tim Tebow last year, but they're winning more convincing wins, and I believe that does a lot for the confidence on your team than anything else. I really have to put Adrian Peterson though as number 2, because nobody's really expected Adrian Peterson to do what he did this soon off of that ACL surgery, and I really think that if you took him away from the Vikings right now, that if you took him away from the Vikings right now, that I don't know where would they be. They've really impressed me so far this season at 6-4, and I didn't. And right now it's just they keep on feeding him the rock. Who do you think is going to be your MVP?
Right now it's really a conflict between Peyton Manning and Adrian Peterson. It's really a conflict. I tell you what, if Drew Brees somehow, some way, can get the Saints to a wild card, he is definitely going to be. He's probably going to be the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow, some way, they can get to the playoffs, because the media is going to their story already. It'll be a pretty pissed off Roger Goodell moment, but he's probably trying to find a way to start with the Washington, but you can't. If they were somehow, some way able to